The sensor array screamed its warnings across the bridge of the Imperial Dreadnought Sovereign's Fist, filling the command deck with crimson emergency lighting that painted Admiral Vexther's scaled features in shades of blood and shadow. His 6 eyes narrowed simultaneously as he studied the holographic projection hovering above the central command pit, a massive, impossible shape that violated every known principle of naval architecture. "Impossible," he hissed, his translator chip converting the statement into standard Galactic. "Run the scans again. There must be an error." Lieutenant Kaleth's tentacles trembled as she manipulated her console. "Admiral, I've run the diagnostics 17 times. The readings are accurate. That vessel measures approximately 43 kilometers in length. Mass readings are off our scales. Energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases." Anna Volkov stood at the observation window of the Prometheus, her reflection ghosting across the reinforced transparent aluminum as she gazed at the distant glimmer of the Talaxian fleet. Her short dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her uniform, earth gray with subtle quantum weave reinforcement, bore no insignia of rank. She didn't need them. Everyone aboard knew exactly who she was. "Distance to contact," she asked, her voice calm, measured. Louis Chen looked up from the navigation console, his fingers dancing across holographic controls that responded to his thoughts as much as his touch. 70,000 kilometers in closing. They're holding formation, defensive posture but aggressive stance. Classic Talaxian doctrine. They want to look strong while they assess the threat. Anna allowed herself a small smile. "They have no idea what they're looking at, do they?" "No, ma'am," Louis replied, his own smile matching hers. "To them, we're just big." Big was an understatement. The Prometheus represented humanity's first, and so far only, Titan-class vessel, a ship so massive that it had required the resources of Earth's entire solar system to construct. Hollowed asteroids formed its superstructure. Fusion reactors the size of cities powered its systems. Weapon arrays that could crack moons dotted its hull like constellations. But size wasn't what made the Prometheus terrifying. It was what humanity had learned to do with that size. "Admiral," Kaleth's voice rose to a pitch that made Vexther's hearing membranes ache. "The vessel it's changing." On the holographic display, the massive human ship began to transform. Sections of its hull reconfigured with mechanical precision that seemed almost organic. Weapon ports opened like predatory mouths. Energy readings spiked across multiple spectrums simultaneously. "Battle stations," Vexther commanded, though dread had already begun to coil in his primary heart. "All ships, combat formation Delta 7, prepare to." The communications officer, a young Talaxian barely past his second molting, interrupted with a trembling voice. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission, audio only, in our language." "Play it," Vexther ordered. A human voice filled the bridge, female, clear, with an accent that the translator couldn't quite place. "Talaxian Imperial Fleet, this is Captain Anna Volkov of the Terran vessel Prometheus. You are blocking our passage through this system. We have no quarrel with the Talaxian Empire. Stand down and allow us to pass, and no blood will be spilled today." Vexther felt his combat instincts warring with his survival instincts. Humans, the primitives from the backwater world that the Empire had dismissed as beneath notice a mere 200 cycles ago. They had barely achieved faster-than-light travel when the Talaxians had first cataloged their world. Now they possessed this. "This is Admiral Vexther of the Imperial Dreadnought Sovereign's Fist," he replied, forcing authority into his voice. "You are in violation of Imperial space. By order of the Talaxian Empire, you will power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Failure to comply will result in your destruction." There was a pause. Then, impossibly, he heard the human laugh. "Admiral," Anna's voice came back, warm with dark amusement, "I don't think you understand your situation. Let me clarify. The Prometheus is equipped with graviton manipulation systems that can create localized singularities. Our point defense grid can track and eliminate 17,000 individual targets simultaneously. Our hull is composed of metamaterials that adapt to incoming fire in real time, and those are just our defensive capabilities. Lewis pulled up a tactical overlay on Anna's command station. Captain, they're charging weapons. All 17 ships. They're actually going to do it. Anna sighed, the sound of someone disappointed but not surprised. Humanity had hoped the galaxy would be more enlightened. Patch me through again, Lewis. Open channel, he confirmed. Admiral Vexther, Anna said, and now her voice had lost all traces of warmth. You have 10 seconds to stand down. I'm giving you this warning because despite everything, I believe in giving people choices. Choose wisely. On the bridge of the Sovereign's Fist, Vexther's pride warred with a growing sense of primal fear that he couldn't quite suppress. No species had ever spoken to the Talaxian Empire with such casual dismissal. His ancestors had conquered 47 star systems. The Empire's might was legendary. Fire, he commanded. 17 Talaxian warships unleashed hell simultaneously. Plasma cannons that could vaporize cities, missile swarms that could overwhelm any known point defense system, beam weapons that could cut through armor like tissue. All of it converged on the Prometheus in a display of firepower that should have ended any vessel in known space. Anna watched the incoming fire on her tactical display with the detachment of a scientist observing an expected result. Lewis, demonstrate capability set alpha, defensive only. Aye, Captain, Lewis replied, his fingers moving across his console with practiced ease. The Prometheus didn't dodge, it didn't need to. As the Talaxian barrage approached, space itself seemed to bend around the massive human vessel. Gravitational shears appeared in precise points, redirecting plasma streams back toward their sources. Missiles found themselves caught in microsingularities, crushed to atomic dust before they could reach their target. Beam weapons struck hull plating that absorbed, converted, and dissipated their energy so efficiently that the Prometheus's hull didn't even register a temperature increase. In less than 7 seconds, the entire Talaxian assault had been negated without the Prometheus firing a single shot in return. Admiral, Kaleth whispered, her voice barely audible, their defensive capabilities alone exceed our entire fleet's offensive output. If they counterattack. I know, Vexther cut her off, his voice hollow. In all his years of service, through dozens of campaigns, he had never felt what he felt now. The absolute certainty that he and everyone under his command were already dead, kept alive only by the mercy of their opponent. The communication channel opened again. This time Anna's voice was gentle, almost kind. Admiral, I gave you a choice. You made it. Now I'm giving you another one. Surrender and live or continue this fight and die. There is no third option. You have 30 seconds. Vexther looked around his bridge at the officers who had served with him for years. Young Kaleth, who had a clutch of eggs waiting for her back on the homeworld. Tactical Officer Emreth, who wrote poetry in his spare time. Navigator Esveen, who had saved this very ship during the Korvax campaign. He had led them into this. Pride, the Empire's pride, his own pride, had brought them to this moment. All ships, he said quietly, power down weapons, lower shields, we surrender. On the Prometheus, Anna nodded to herself. Smart man, Lewis, secure the Talaxian fleet, non-lethal protocols, I want minimal casualties. Already on it, Lewis confirmed. Within moments, specialized drones launched from the Prometheus, each one equipped with electromagnetic pulse generators calibrated specifically for Talaxian technology. The Imperial ships found their systems locked down, not destroyed, disabled with surgical precision that spoke to extensive intelligence gathering and technological superiority. Anna activated her personal communicator. This is Captain Volkov to all departments. Situation contained. Stand down from combat alert. Medical teams prepare to render assistance to Talaxian casualties. Engineering prepare boarding teams for damage assessment and repair support. She turned to Lewis. How many did we lose? 0 casualties. Minimal power expenditure on defensive systems. The fleet is completely intact and secured. Anna walked to the observation window, studying the disabled Talaxian vessels. They hung in space like toys, utterly helpless before humanity's might. It should have felt victorious. Instead, it felt sad. "Do you think they'll learn?" Lewis asked, coming to stand beside her. "Some will," Anna replied. "Some will see this as proof that might makes right, and they'll only fear us more. Others will understand that we could have destroyed them and chose not to. That mercy can be a greater show of strength than violence." "And the rest of the galaxy?" Anna smiled slightly. "Word will spread. The Talaxian Empire just lost an entire fleet without the Prometheus firing a single offensive shot. Some species will see us as potential allies. Others will see us as the greatest threat they've ever encountered. A few will probably try to reverse engineer our technology, though that's," she paused, considering, "optimistic of them." Lewis chuckled. "Optimistic, that's one word for it." The truth was that humanity's technological leap hadn't been luck or some natural evolutionary advantage. It had been necessity. When Earth had first encountered the greater galaxy, humanity had discovered an uncomfortable truth. They were late to the party, and the party was violent. The galaxy operated on a brutal hierarchy. Strong species dominated weak ones. Advanced civilizations exploited primitive ones. The Talaxian Empire was actually one of the more benevolent powers. They merely demanded tribute and obedience rather than outright enslavement. Humanity had looked at this galactic order and made a collective decision. Never again. Never again would humans be at the mercy of those who saw them as lesser. In a single generation, Earth had marshaled every resource, every brilliant mind, every ounce of will toward one goal, becoming so powerful that no one would ever threaten humanity again. The Prometheus was the result, not just a ship but a statement. Admiral Vexter was escorted to the Prometheus's conference room under guard, though the guards, he noted with bitter irony, were courteous and professional. The room itself was surprisingly modest, circular with a simple table and comfortable seating. No displays of power, no intimidating architecture. Anna entered alone, carrying 2 containers of what Vexter's olfactory sensors identified as some kind of hot beverage. "Tea," Anna explained, setting one container in front of him. "I checked with our xenobiology team. It's safe for Talaxian consumption and actually quite pleasant according to our chemical analysis. No obligation to drink it, of course." Vexter stared at the tea, then at the human woman who had just effortlessly defeated his entire fleet. She looked young by human standards, he knew, perhaps 30 cycles. But her eyes held something older, something weary. "Why didn't you destroy us?" he asked finally. Anna settled into her seat, cradling her own tea. "Because destruction was never the goal, Admiral. We came to this system to pass through, not to conquer. Your fleet attacked us. We defended ourselves, but defense doesn't require annihilation." "You could have," Vexter pressed. "Your vessel's capabilities are beyond anything in Imperial records. You could have wiped us out in moments." "Yes," Anna agreed simply. "We could have, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Humanity learned that lesson the hard way, Admiral. We learned it in our own history before we ever left our world. The powerful have a responsibility to the powerless. We forgot that truth many times, and each time we paid dearly for it." Vexter felt something shift in his understanding. "You're not conquerors." "No," Anna confirmed. "We're not, though I suspect many in the galaxy will have trouble believing that. The Prometheus was built to ensure humanity's survival and freedom, not to dominate others but to make sure no one can dominate us." "Your ship, how is it even possible?" The question escaped before Vexter could stop it. Anna smiled, an expression that held both pride and something darker, perhaps regret. Desperation is a powerful motivator, Admiral. When humanity first encountered the galactic community, we realized we were children playing in an arena of giants. So we stopped playing. We became something else. She gestured to the window, where the Prometheus's hull stretched beyond sight. This ship represents the combined scientific and industrial output of our entire species for 20 years. Every human colony, every research station, every manufacturer contributed. We didn't build the Prometheus because we wanted to. We built it because we had to. And now, Vexter asked, what will Earth do with such power? That, Anna said softly, is the question, isn't it? We're going to release your fleet, Admiral. You'll be free to return to Imperial space. Your ships will be fully repaired, better than they were actually. We're going to send you home with a message for your empire and every other power in the galaxy. She leaned forward and her eyes locked with his. Humanity wants peace. We want cooperation, trade, cultural exchange, mutual benefit, but we will never, ever submit to domination again. Any species that approaches us with respect will find us the most loyal allies imaginable. Any species that approaches us with violence. She paused. We'll discover exactly what the Prometheus can do when we're not being merciful. Vexter felt a chill run through his body. You're threatening the entire galaxy. No, Anna corrected gently. We're making a promise to the entire galaxy. The choice of whether that promise is a blessing or a curse rests with everyone else. 3 weeks later, Anna stood on the observation deck with Lewis, watching the Prometheus approach Earth's orbit. The blue-green jewel of humanity's homeworld filled the viewport, beautiful and fragile. Command is furious we didn't press our advantage, Lewis noted. Admiral Harrison thinks we should have used the Talaxian incident to establish Earth as the dominant power in the sector. Anna snorted. Admiral Harrison is an idiot. Dominance through fear is a prison that locks the jailer inside with the prisoners. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to live in it without being afraid. Do you think it worked? Lewis asked. Will they leave us alone? Anna was quiet for a long moment. Some will. Some won't. The galaxy is vast and full of different species with different values and different goals. But now they all know one thing, humanity is not prey. We're not conquerors either. We're something new, something that doesn't fit their existing categories. That's going to make them nervous. Nervous species do unpredictable things. They do, Anna agreed. Which is why the Prometheus will continue to patrol, to show the flag, to remind everyone of what we've become. Not to threaten, but to assure. To be the shield that keeps Earth safe while diplomats and scientists and ordinary people build the kind of relationships that matter. Lewis smiled. You sound like you actually believe in all this. Peace, cooperation, the better angels of our nature. Anna returned his smile. I have to, Lewis. Because the alternative is that we built a monster ship that makes the galaxy panic, and we become exactly what we were trying to protect ourselves from. The Prometheus gives us a choice. Now we have to choose wisely. Far away in the Imperial Palace on Talaxia Prime, Admiral Vexter stood before the Council of Elders, his report complete. The counselors sat in shocked silence, processing the implications. Finally, Elder HFY spoke, her voice trembling slightly. A single ship defeated an entire fleet without firing an offensive weapon. Yes, Elder, Vexter confirmed. And these humans, they let you live, repaired your ships, sent you home with a message of peace. Yes, Elder. HFY exchanged glances with her fellow counselors. What do you recommend, Admiral? Vexter thought of Anna Volkov's eyes, ancient and tired and hopeful all at once. He thought of the tea she had offered him, a gesture of hospitality in the midst of a military crisis. He thought of the Prometheus, a vessel that could have been a weapon of galactic conquest but chose to be a shield instead. I recommend, he said carefully, that we take them at their word. Humanity has shown us power beyond our comprehension, but they've also shown us mercy, restraint, and a genuine desire for peace. We should respond in kind. Another elder, Core, hissed skeptically. Or they're lulling us into complacency before they strike. Perhaps, Vexthor acknowledged. But elder, I looked into Captain Volkov's eyes. I heard the weariness in her voice. Humanity didn't build the Prometheus because they wanted to conquer. They built it because they were afraid. And now they're trying to build something better than fear. He straightened, meeting each counselor's gaze in turn. We can help them succeed, or we can prove their fears justified. The choice is ours. In the end, the council voted to extend a formal diplomatic invitation to Earth. It was a small step, cautious and hedged with conditions, but it was a step nonetheless. And aboard the Prometheus, as Anna reviewed the Talaxian response, she allowed herself a moment of hope. The galaxy had panicked when they saw humanity's monster ship, but panic could evolve into understanding, fear into respect, and respect into something better. It wouldn't be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever was. But for the first time since humanity had left Earth and discovered the harsh realities of the galactic order, Anna Volkov dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could build something better than an empire of fear. The Prometheus drifted in Earth's orbit, massive and powerful and terrifying, a monster ship that chose to be something more. A promise and a warning, a shield and a beacon. Human, undeniably, impossibly, hopefully human. And,